Hi, people. Oh, what am I going to talk about? I was in the middle of talking about something, and my phone ran out of memory, I believe. So I went and just deleted a bunch of videos, and then emptied the trash. So, uh, while my trash was being emptied, because it took a while, I watched a short video that my friend sent me about Elon Musk, which was kind of related to what I was talking about in the video that I was just recording. It was his Elon's life in 1 minute is the name of the video, and it's not really his life story. It's just a kind of a few, like his business kind of key points in his business, how he got rich, you might say. Uh, he starts off with like where he first, like his first job and that sort of thing. He worked at a lumber mill, I believe, or a farm, both, not at the same time. But then he talked about how he went to college, got a bunch of debt, and then started an internet company which he made millions of dollars from, and then another one which he got millions of dollars from. I don't think he started the second one. I think he was just involved in it. That was the one that became PayPal. Anyways, uh, it felt related to what I'm talking about, or was talking about, because his situation is not that much different from mine. Uh, he said in the video, he said that he moved to America, or North America, not to America, but to North America, with like $1,000. And of course, now he's wealthy. And I'm not going to say that I am wealthy, but he was not. He didn't discuss it in this video, but I've seen other videos where he talks about how he used to, when he was like doing the software development thing, that he would sleep in the office where he worked and take showers at the local YMCA and things like that, which is what I was doing. I was living in my dad's shop and I was taking my showers at the gym. I don't even do that anymore. Uh, you probably can't tell. I don't do a whole lot of hygiene. Uh, so I know that's not really funny, but like I don't. I might go like 2 or 3 days now without showering, and so of course I don't shave when I don't shower usually. I shouldn't say that because I might shave more often than I shower, but uh, but yeah, I'm doing that because there's a direction that I want to go, and I feel like this lifestyle is allowing me the freedom to do that. It's allowing me to like living in the bus, right? I'm not paying rent. I don't have to work. I don't have to have a job to pay rent. So uh, maybe there are other things that I need a job for, like if I want to drive my van. I need gas for that and insurance, and I do have a loan on the van and that sort of thing. Meaning that I use the title of the van to get a loan, and now I have to pay back the loan or I lose the van, sort of thing. But at the moment, I'm almost kind of like, I think I could just get rid of the van. I think if the company really wants it, I might just be like, just come get it. I don't really need it at this point, because everything that I need is in walking distance. Uh, I've just about set myself up for a life that does not require money. Uh, I don't take showers at the gym anymore. I was paying for that. I don't pay for that anymore. Little, I have a propane tank out there that's painted black. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm pointing at really. Uh, yep, right through the door. Uh, it was a propane tank that I was using for when it was cold out to heat the bus, and I took the top out of it, and it just so happens that the threads, the hole in the top of the propane tank, the threads, it's a threaded hole, and those it's the same size as like a garden hose or a garden spigot, and so I painted it black. and now I can heat that up over a fire and take hot showers. So yeah, so I get free food from the food bank, and I'm thinking about applying for food stamps, even though I already get food from the food bank, because food banks tend to give just kind of, the same stuff, canned food, things like nuts and rice, stuff. They do give perishable food, but I don't have a refrigerator, so most of the time I just throw that stuff away. They do give a lot of, like, I got a cherry pie on my last visit, and I ate like two or three bites out of it, and then just threw it away. And it really wasn't. This is really wasn't the point of the last video that I was making. Uh, the last video I was talking about how this is really the first time in my life. I don't mean like today, but just of late, like over the last year, I would say is like it feels like the first time in my life where I've got my hands on the wheel. Right, like I'm the one steering the ship now, whereas in the past, I don't want to get too into religious ideas about who's actually the one behind the wheel, but in the past I was just kind of I just wasn't deliberate. I was not really deliberate in my actions. When I went to go get a job, I wasn't. I really didn't think, what job do I want? It was more, what job is readily available, and is it decent enough? Can I tolerate it? So I've had jobs at gas stations. I've had jobs at restaurants. I've had jobs at retail stores, warehouses, greenhouses. I worked for a landscaping company. I worked for a house framing company. I worked for a pool installation company. And that in the past, that really wasn't a problem. There was one problem, which was that I just didn't really like any of the jobs, and that none of them were jobs that I felt like I want to stay here forever. And maybe some people might be like, well, there really is no such job like that. There is no job where you're just like, this is where I want to be for the rest of my life. Maybe some people do. Maybe some people find that job. I don't know. But for me, it was always like, I'm just never satisfied in the present moment. People talk about living in the present moment, and I've always had a kind of aversion to that. Which manifests in me just getting lost in my thoughts. I'm just constantly like thinking about. I wouldn't say thinking about things, because I'm not really thinking about things. Usually, when I'm in my head, I'm like either having an imaginary conversation with the person, or maybe just somewhere else. Like I'm not actually like contemplating the nature of reality or stuff like that. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do self-reflection. Sometimes I go through this like with the job thing. Currently, I do that with the job thing because I'm in a situation with my family. I don't want to go over all the details again, because I've covered this I don't know how many times in how many videos, but I'm currently like in the city where my family lives, and I put it that way because I would not live here if they were not here. And I moved here from Atlanta. I was living in Atlanta, where this problem of jobs made itself the most obvious, because when I got to Atlanta, I could not afford my own apartment. Working at like a gas station or a restaurant or a greenhouse or any of the jobs that I've had in the past, I would not have made enough money to live in an apartment on my own in Atlanta, and not without like government assistance or something like that. So that's the situation that I got into while I was in Atlanta. Was I was in a housing project for veterans that was a HUD-VASH program, which is HUD-VASH, is basically HUD for veterans. HUD is the Housing and Urbanization Department, uh, which is that some people call it Section 8. When you talk about like Section 8 housing, it's just government assistant housing, where the government pays a portion of your rent. And the problem with that was dictating where I could live, right? So when that program, it was a veterans program, they moved it to another location. So I had to move, and I wasn't making enough money to do anything about it. And the apartment I had was like $1,400 a month, and if I were to pay out of my own pocket, and I think I was only making like $1,600 a month or something like that. And so maybe I could have done it. Maybe I could have found a way to do it, but it just wasn't. It was not looking good. So, anyways, that's why when they moved me, and then the pandemic happened right at the same time. The pandemic started. I moved from Decatur, Georgia, which is in Atlanta, to Stone Mountain, which is outside Atlanta, and I was the best option for me was just to move back here to where my family's at, and to work for my father, because he had a job for me at that point. So now he does not have a job for me, or he does, but it's not the job that I want. And it seems to be the job that he wants me to do, which is to be a pool installer. He has a pool installation company, pool sales and installation. He sells pools and he installs them. And he just keeps like intimating. He does this a lot, where he kind of beats around the bush when he wants something, and he keeps kind of just nudging me, just like, there's a job available, kind of thing. Even though he could pay me to do something that I want to do, but he just doesn't seem to want to do that. It seems like he wants me to go in a certain direction, and he would rather just kind of, choke me until, as far as not giving me the work that I could do or would want to do. And just like computer stuff, he has like spreadsheets that he does a lot of work with spreadsheets, and it takes up a lot of the time, and a lot of the work that he's doing is unnecessary, because he could have he uses like Microsoft Excel, and he could have Microsoft Excel automate a lot of that, but he doesn't know how to do it. So he could have me do that. We've talked about it, but for whatever reason, he's changed his mind about having me do that. And he's like, yeah, no, he's like, I'll just, he proposed me the idea, but then when I started coming up with solutions, and I told him that I had solutions, he was like, nah, you know what? I think I'll just kind of go with what I have here. And I'm like, what is that about? I don't know what that's about. It feels to me like he's just, like I said, just kind of trying to gently nudge me in the direction of becoming a pool installer. Maybe not so gently, but there was a lot of indecision about that for me. There was just like a lot of, it's like, well, I could have a job. Right now I don't have a job. Uh, he was, I don't have a full-time job. So he's paying me to do pool drawings, like architectural drawings that he can print out on a large format printer that they can use for the pool installation. So when it has like the pool specs. It shows a picture of the pool with the dimensions of the pool, and how deep it is, how wide it is, and it has a picture of the property, shows the location where the pool's going in relationship to the property, in relationship to the house. And even though he's putting in like a pool every day for whatever reason, he all of a sudden doesn't have any drawings for me to do, and that's one of those situations where I'm like, how is that possible? You did 130 pools last year, but you only had 3 drawings for me to do. I don't understand. Uh, but there's a lot of indecision there, uh, and that is partly because of this issue of what I'm just talking about. Is this thing about having my hands on the wheels? Uh, that I could do that job for him. It is a job that I don't want to do. I don't want to be a pool installer. I don't like that kind of work. Uh, and that is partly because if I move to Atlanta or something like that, that's not a job where I can get I can go to Atlanta and then just maybe there's pool installation companies in Atlanta, but what are they making? What does a pool installer make? You know. Uh, but I'm in class. If I have not said already, I'm learning. I believe I've mentioned it with the Elon Musk thing that I'm currently in school, taking computer programming classes. I'm also taking classes outside of the school, uh, through other online resources like Udemy, Coursera, edX. So I'm taking like 6 classes at the moment. I'd say like 6 because I'm mostly focused on the 3 that I'm taking through the community college. Those are the 3 that I'm like I have to get these done because it's not a at your own pace. It's you have so many weeks to accomplish certain tasks. I have due dates and that sort of thing. Uh, so with the other ones I don't. But yeah, I do try to get to those 2, and that is one of the reasons why I want that kind of work is if I can move to another city like Atlanta, and they have Google there, CNN, uh, probably quite a few companies in Atlanta where I could go and just say, hey, I can program computers, I know machine learning, I can do data analysis, whatever, and get a job somewhere, or I could work remotely and just go wherever I want to go. So I might end up just staying here and working remotely or something like that. I don't know. I don't really like where I'm at, and this is another one of those things where uh, I'm not sure what to do about that situation, about this situation, about the location, because the way I'll put it this way. I put it this way to my friend is that I have a problem and moving does not solve my problem. So I can move to Atlanta, but my problem will come with me, right? So what I feel like is maybe where I live is a problem, but I need to solve the problem that I have first, which is the problem that I have wherever I go, which is the problem that I have with me, right? And so that's why at the moment I kind of feel like moving probably is not going to help me much. Especially if I have to like just start over again, like start meeting new people and that sort of thing. But that is one of the things that like I've had 2 different psychologists and two people that I talked to for like advice and guidance and that sort of thing that have told me like you need to start meeting new people. You need to start making connections outside of your family. Because the relationship with the family at the moment is, I would describe as not healthy. I'll put it that way. So it's not. When I say that, I don't mean like that I'm being harassed by them or that sort of thing, but there's just a lack of communication. I'm not being invited to family gatherings, and that sort of thing. And then most of the time, I'm not even being told about it or being told why I wasn't invited. Uh, so until I bring it up, so and then that's when things get a little bit toxic. When I start bringing things like that up, that's when things get toxic. Uh, I don't think I've ever been lied to so many times in my life as when I bring up this subject. touchy subjects like that with my family. uh, uh, yeah, and that's part of the where a lot of where some of the indecision comes from is that it's like I live here in this city because my family's here. I realize that moving may not necessarily solve my problem, but at the same time, I live in a city where I have a relationship that is maybe more detrimental than helpful, and I don't have friends here. I have acquaintances here, people who if I see them in town, maybe we'll talk for a little while, kind of thing. But not the sort of people who I would have like long conversations with or feel like I could open up to about certain things, that sort of thing. So that's one of those things. Do I just need to put more effort into meeting people? Do I need to, you know, like someone was talking to me about this. They're like, just go to meetup.com and find a group. So, you know, I already tried that. Go to meetup.com, put in Salisbury, North Carolina. You will not see a single group in meetup.com for Salisbury, North Carolina. At least the last time I checked it. Maybe if you do it now, I could be wrong. If you see more than 0 groups in Salisbury, congratulations. But there were 0 results when I checked it, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like, is this really? Is this making that harder? Would it be better for me to move to a new place and just meet new people? Uh, of course, that would be difficult not having a job, right? So this is one of those. This is just another one of those things. But what the whole thing that the video that I made before this, I was talking about kind of the idea of just kind of the reluctance to make decisions, like this. What was that? I don't remember. Indecisiveness is a symptom of something, and I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if it's a symptom of a codependent relationship or if it's a symptom of being in a dysfunctional family. I don't mean to say that everyone in a dysfunctional family is indecisive, but I think it might have been codependent relationships was what I was reading about, where it said that a lot of times the person who is uh, I still don't quite understand what a codependent relationship is, but the basic idea that I have is it's a relationship essentially where one person is kind of one person is gets their sense of identity from another person. Like it's like they need the other person to kind of tell them who they are almost. And this is of course results in indecision and that sort of thing. The person just does not want to take charge of their own life, basically. Something like that. And for whatever reason, since I've come back from Atlanta to Salisbury, that's been the situation with my father, where he seems to want to take that role of trying to tell me who I am and what I should be doing and that sort of thing. And there in that relationship there is a power struggle. It feels to me almost like he sees me like a dog and he's trying to get his leash around my neck. And if he was like that before, I don't remember ever noticing it. But if I had to speculate on why he might be doing that, it's because of the trans thing, right? Now, he will say, well, you make everything about trans. But is it just a coincidence that, he started doing this? Like I said, if he did it before, it just wasn't noticeable. Now it's like blatant, right? Now it's just like every opportunity he gets, he tries to inform me about what a bad person I am. I'm either self-centered, constantly mean and cruel, constantly mean and cold-hearted, narcissistic, self-centered, uh, and these sorts of things, and lazy. He doesn't use, well, yeah, he doesn't use that one all that much anymore, but that was kind of his go-to. But now I'm not working. Does that mean I'm lazy? I don't see it that way. The way I see it is, this is related to the subject here, I think. But the way I see it is, I had an apartment here in this city up until about 2 years ago, and at that time I was making, of all the jobs I've had, I was like in the top 5 pay range of all the jobs I've ever had. I was making like $500 a week, which is the most that I've made in years. So actually, I think that's like the second highest. Third highest was $500 a week. I think it was the third highest weekly pay that I've ever had. But I was still living paycheck to paycheck, and that's because that was in 20. It was around 2021, 2 years ago. This is 2023. In 2016, I lived in this same apartment, not the same room, not the same like actual space, but in the same complex. Both times I had a 1-bedroom apartment in this apartment complex. I think I was actually 3 doors down from my previous apartment, which is the one I had in 2016, from before I moved to Atlanta. In 2016, the apartment was $420 a month. When I came back from Atlanta, it was $630 a month, which is 4 years later. It had increased by around 50%. 1 year later, it was $995 a month. And even before then, I was already moved out. When it got up to 700, it got up to 730 at the right around 2021, I believe, and sometime around then. And that's when I was like, this isn't worth it. And I said something to my dad's wife or something, and she's like, well, just get another job. And I thought, let's just say, for example, I have 2 full-time jobs, so I'm working 16 hours per day. There's 24 hours in a day. If I sleep for 8 hours, that means every waking hour that I have, I'm at work. So why do I have the apartment if every hour of my waking day I'm at work? I'm only renting the apartment to have a place to sleep and a place to take a shower. Right? Is that worth that? Is it worth it to work every waking hour just to have a place to sleep and to take a shower? No. So it's like, am I better off living in a bus that I don't have to pay rent on? Yes. Is it better for me if I don't have to work at all? Yes. Because why? I can work on my classes. I can study. I can make videos to put on YouTube where I talk about my life and maybe help somebody else, right? Instead of having a shovel in my hand where I'm really no good, like my gifts are being wasted, right? I would say that I'm no good to society, but maybe, somebody wants a pool, right? Or whatever. So, I'm helping them, right? But the way I see it is, God gave me gifts. The gifts that God gave me, God meant for me to give to the world. The gift that God gave me wasn't the ability to sweep a floor, right? Or to move flower pots or whatever. And I don't mean to belittle that, but it's like having a desktop computer and using it as a bookend, right? And not using it as a computer. If it can do double duty, if you have a desktop computer and you can use it as a bookend and as a computer, that's great, right? But if you're just using it as a bookend, it's like, why did you buy the computer? So that's how I feel about work, right? I feel like it's mostly a waste of time. Most of the jobs that I've had, when I look back at my life and I look at the jobs that I've had, I think they were all wastes of time. Basically, I was kind of delaying the inevitable, right? I was just keeping my head above water a little while longer. And I wasn't going anywhere. My life was not going anywhere. You know, having a full time job and renting an apartment, my life was not going anywhere. Uh, is my life going somewhere now? All I can say is, for the first time in my life, I feel like I have my hands on the wheel. I feel like I'm not just daydreaming through life. I'm not on autopilot like I was. Maybe autopilot is a better way to put it than the path of least resistance, but uh, I think I was saying something about an aversion to living in the present moment, about getting lost in my thoughts. And I was thinking about this yesterday that why do I seem to have this aversion of living in the present moment? Why is it like if I just sit and meditate where my brain just constantly goes to occupying itself with something? Whether it's like, oh, it's almost like I have a TV in my head, and it's like I just have to have the TV on, because I have to be kind of constantly occupied with something. And here lately, it's like I'm occupied all the time, and I don't think it's a coincidence that I find my present moment to be unsatisfactory. So I would say that for most of my life, I have found my present moment to be unsatisfactory, which is apparently why I don't like to live in the present moment. But as far as I can tell, the problem is there's either two reasons why I don't want to live in the present moment. One is that there's some truth that I'm hiding from. The other is that I just never learned how to get what I want. I never learned how to make myself like the present moment. I never learned how to. What's that prayer? God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the power to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think for most of my life, I've just kind of had this attitude that I can't really change anything. I don't really have control over my life. And I think that's kind of what's changing now. And if I was kind of that person in the codependent relationship who just kind of needed to be on a leash, uh, now I'm kind of, it's like I feel like I have to get the leash off, or I have to direct my own self. And this is just kind of like, oh my god, why does this? It feels almost like I've been living in a house my entire life and I've never left the house, and now it's like I'm stepping outside and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I mean, I don't mean to put it. I don't mean to make it sound like it's a nightmare, but because I can kind of see, like when I think about like the direction that I'm going, I can kind of see like an image of where I'll end up. You know, like I said before, one of the reasons I like the computer programming thing is that can take me places, right? And I can kind of see myself just going to California and just spending, 2 years in California, or going to Europe or something like that, and going to some software development conference and being a speaker at the conference or something like that. And I can see that for myself. And when I see that, I think that sounds like a decent life. That sounds like a present moment where I can be in that and just be like, hey, I like this. Uh, so yeah, those are my the two things that I'm working on, or the two ideas that I'm digging at. It's like I said, I have two. Either I have a truth that I'm hiding from, or I just never learned how to make myself. I never learned how to make the present moment something that I could sit in and enjoy. Uh, because my whole life, my way of dealing with unsatisfactory present moments was just to check out, just go get lost in my thoughts. Uh, and like I said, that's usually just imaginary conversations. That's usually me at in some software development conference in my head, you know, talking about how I built my first. I built a random night sky generator when I was 46 years old. This is like my first. I think, as far as I know, this may be my only original idea in software development, was the random night sky generator. Uh, so, which was just a HTML canvas that when you refresh the page, it randomly fills the canvas with different colors squares, and I was able to restrict the color range of the of the night sky, so it wasn't just completely black, but it had some deviation. It was like this kind of dark red mixed with like a little bit of dark desaturated green, and then on top of that I had like just fairly, I called it a speckle function, which is randomly scattered stars across the canvas, which were just light blue squares. So it was all like on a grid, and every time I refreshed the page, it randomly generated the new night sky. I thought it was kind of cool, but because when you're learning computer programming, something like that is cool. When you're first learning how to do it, it's like I don't know. I don't know what to compare it to, but I guess it would be something like baking your first cake if you were learning how to cook or something. I don't know, but I guess I'm running out of steam here, people. I'm running out of steam. I think it might be time for me to go do my homework. It might be time for me to go do my homework, and mm, mm, mm. and get this show on the road. I got to get this show on the road. This bus has been sitting here for I don't know how long. This bus has just been sitting here, and it's like, God damn it, I'm getting rusty just sitting here. I need to move. My bus is telling me I need to move. We got to go somewhere. You and I are going somewhere together. Thank you, bus. I appreciate that. Goodbye.